Perfect.
Oh, and Caitlin Dover is just joining us.
Fantastic. And good morning to everyone. Welcome to this morning's meeting on today, I guess, is October 14th for the Downtown Oshawa BIA Marketing Committee. And I'd like to move item number 3 on the agenda, which is acceptance of today's agenda. Can I get a mover of today's agenda?
I'll move it.
Thanks, Matt. You have a seconder?
I'll second it. It's Cindy.
Thanks, Cindy. One thing I did want to just propose is possibly, Cindy, I know you have an hour with us here today. Before we finalize the agenda, do we want to consider moving any items up while you're with us?
That's a good question. I don't know, Taylor and Angela, I'm just trying to think if there was anything that came up in yesterday's meeting or that we need me to be around to discuss.
I think the surveys that we discussed yesterday kind of fall underneath the communications plan, which is the first, meat and potatoes item on the agenda.
Yeah, perfect. No, but thank you, Isaac. I really appreciate your consideration, but I think we're good.
Okay, I think one thing, maybe under new business, an item that maybe I'd like to just quickly touch on is, if you recall that Welcoming Streets blog.
Yes.
If we could have a quick chat about that, and could we try to move that up maybe after the communications plan?
For sure.
So you want new business to be moved up to number 8?
Yeah, if we could do that, and then so far under new business, I'm proposing just the Welcoming Streets blog chat.
Yeah, I do have an item for new business, but
Okay.
that can go back under number 11 if we want to move on.
Okay. I'm okay with that. So I guess with those amendments, sorry, can we get another mover of those amendments?
I'll move with the amendments.
Thanks, Matt. And a seconder.
Yeah, I'll second it again too.
Thanks, Cindy. Do we have to go around the horn, Angela?
I think all you can just say is any opposed.
Yep. Okay, great. So anyone opposed to that? Hearing none, it passes. So moving on to number 4, declarations of conflicts. So do we have any declarations of conflicts today? And again, hearing none, we'll move on to number 5. So in today's meeting, we need to approve minutes for 2 of the previous meetings. And based on my review of the minutes, I noted that the only really voting members that were present at that meeting that are in today's meeting were myself, Matt, and Cindy. So really, Matt and Cindy, I guess I'm looking to you guys to help us get those minutes approved. I'm still unclear from a governance standpoint whether or not people who were not present at that meeting could actually approve those minutes, or if
No.
it's advisable. Yeah, I would lean towards no as well.
Yeah. If you're not present at the meeting, you can't really speak.
Correct.
So with that, Isaac, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay. And I'm looking to you, Cindy, to see if you would be willing to second that as well.
For some reason, I thought I missed the last meeting.
You missed the last meeting, but you didn't miss the August.
Oh, my apologies.
meeting.
It's the August one. I can definitely second those. Sorry. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yep, seconded.
Okay. Any opposed? Hearing none, we will pass meeting minutes from August 12th. And so now we're going to move to meeting minutes from September the 9th. And so again, this is where the masses were present at that meeting, with the exception of you, Cindy. You were actually, and you, Matt. You both were not present for that meeting. So I'm hoping to get a mover to accept meeting minutes from September 9th.
I'll make the motion. Amber?
Okay, thank you, Amber. And I need a seconder.
I'll second it. It's Melissa.
Thank you, Melissa. Any opposed? Again, hearing none, meeting minutes from September 9th, we'll consider those passed. Okay, and then moving to item number 6 on the agenda, acceptance of new committee members, if any. Angela, I don't think we have any new committee members
No, we don't.
on the table for today, so thank you for confirming that. And that's perfect. So then we can move into item number 7, which is communications plan. And so I know just from some emails that were flying around, I had some general comments around communications planning. Cindy, maybe I'll let you pick up with number 7 to start, and then if I can weave in some of my comments or questions, and we can go from there. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, sure. I think when we first started, we really brainstormed a communications plan working around internal and external strategies. So I think we've done quite a bit of what we discussed as far as internal strategies go. We do have the staff and volunteer regular feedback surveys. We do have the board evaluation survey, which I think has been successful. We're still working on tidying up some stuff around the vacation requests, overtime requests, and ED evaluation materials. But there doesn't seem to be a huge press to have those completed right away, so they are still in the works. As far as external communications go, we're hosting our town halls now. So we're going to have our second one on Thursday. So that seems to be being relatively well received by the businesses. And it's touching on hot topics that were identified through the annual survey. Ivano and I have been meeting with the mayor semi-regularly, and that's been really helpful in bridging some communication gaps that were there. We're doing more mini surveys with the members. So we had our little food survey go out just to get an idea of what the businesses were thinking about the food distribution in downtown Oshawa. So we got some valuable feedback from those folks, and that's being fed forward through the appropriate channels. And I think it didn't come as a big surprise that people downtown are in support of providing food to the unsheltered, but just generally wish it was done in a more kind of perhaps organized way, and to make sure that garbage was tidied up afterwards. So I think that's in support of the direction that things are trying to be moved. I'm trying to think of what else we've covered. And Angela and Taylor can jump in anytime as well, because I know they've been working on it too, if I've missed anything or if anything's...
Well, one thing, Cindy, like you brought up the WSI survey, we are going to contact a random sample of businesses and get their feedback on some WSI stuff. There's a report, I believe, being put out, so we just want to try to contribute to that in any way that we can.
Yeah, so Haley is our BIA rep on the WSI committee. So we haven't had any WSI reps at the community development meetings. And last I heard from Haley, they were doing an evaluation and they were wondering if the BIA had any input. So we thought the most unbiased way to do that was to take a random sample of some business storefronts and do a quick survey to find out about their experiences with WSI, or if they had any feedback, positive, constructive, or anything that we can feed forward to WSI and through those channels as well. So
I'm sorry, what's WSI stand for?
Welcoming Streets Initiative. So
Okay.
that's an initiative between the city. I think, is Sue on the call? I don't know if Sue wants to do it.
Sure, I can be more than happy to chime in. Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing well. So I'm on the steering committee for WSI for the Welcoming Streets initiative. There's been a lot going on. We just finalized this weekend a report to go to council. It's just going through the final review right now. And so, Haley, is Haley on the line? Okay.
I don't know. So I'm just going to interrupt for a second, Sue. So Clarissa has joined, And then there's someone else who's joined who I don't know who it is because they're just listed as a phone number. So if they wouldn't mind identifying who they are, that would be great.
The 416
That
number.
might be me,
Yeah.
maybe, Caitlin. I think it's still me, Clarissa. I'm on the phone, and then I tried to do it on the Zoom part too, so it's probably just me twice.
Okay, I think it is Clarissa then. Thanks.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Is my name listed, Caitlin?
Yeah, I do have your name listed.
Okay.
Okay, so we finalized a report that has gone through to the commissioner last night, and the purpose of the report is that the pilot project was 6 months. We were able then in April to get an extension to December 31st, 2020. We're now going back to council to get preparing a budget and a complete report for Welcoming Streets Initiative so that it could go for 12 months, January 1 to December 31st, 2021. And that will go to council. The report actually shows the reason for the pilot project, the stats on what's been going on, and especially during COVID, and complete breakdown of the training that's been done through Welcoming Streets, the support, the number of business calls. It's a complete report. What we would like to see is, and I know there's a couple, I'm actually doing a walk with the outreach workers at 1 o'clock downtown. And so what I like to do is do the walk with them and start to talk to businesses. There's still a bit of what we'd like to try and get the communication out better. And we're hoping that if we get the website on BIA a little bit more active, is that we get weekly stats of exactly how many clients they've interacted with, how many businesses they've interacted with, and what's been going on. It's a comprehensive report that comes out weekly. We'd like to try to get that out through the BIA a little bit more. The reason being that I find there's still a misperception about the outreach workers and what their role is. Some businesses think that their role is to arrest the homeless, something is to get the homeless out, and some don't really understand what I think, and I'm not sure, sorry, who on the call said, I don't know what WSI is. A lot of people don't quite understand what this program is about. And so we're trying to get that communication a little bit stronger. So Haley will see a copy of that report. I'd say it's just going through the commissioner right now. So we're pretty excited if we can get the funding for that. It will, and the region actually also put in a partial 50,000 of that funding when we did the 6-month extension. So now we've got Durham Region jumping in on that. And so I don't know if anyone has any questions. I'm just rambling.
I think one thing is we need to definitely either discuss or try to identify if and where would be an appropriate place. So you're saying with these weekly reports, like I'm just trying to figure out a way if there's a specific page that we dedicate to the Welcoming Streets Initiative, and then if it's easy for us to go in and be able to copy paste some of the stats on that page and just update it. Like I know we have some back end access, right, Taylor? Is
Yeah.
possible?
So, Angela, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, I want to jump in here because this has been discussed previously, and we decided that this would hold until we actually have the members section where people have to sign in rather than put it out in the open for all the community.
Yeah, so that will, I was going to say the exact same thing, Angela. So that will hopefully happen within the first month or two of 2021 when we start the second phase of the website. Like I'm going to get our web developer to make that the #1 priority or the first task to complete. But that is something that we want to hold off on putting on the website until we can have it in a kind of secure spot, because the website is supposed to be for members, but it's also got a very tourist focused aspect to it. So we don't know if having all of that information kind of out there is exactly what we want.
So I guess if I can chime in, I think it's probably, I mean, we can go offline with some of these discussions. The report that's coming out is a 10-page report. I'm just flipping through it now and work a 9-page report. It's public. it's a public report once it's out. Once it's approved, it goes to council, it's a public report. So I urge you to maybe not try to protect the information. It's really important that people know this is an initiative that needs to be citywide, but it's it's been just in the downtown area. But I think it's really vital that your members understand what's going on, because really the financial support is from the city. Now we're getting a little bit from the region, and CARIA. It's an memo of understanding between also the BIA, because what the BIA's role is to really communicate this program and support it. So what we're finding is that, when I look at, for example, 12 months, is that, we look at the from the November 2019 and March 31st, it's interactions is almost 8,000 with clients, from workshops over 300, business visits over 1,000. And so sometimes I know that, Angela will get a pushback where someone says, well, I don't know who they are. They never talk to us, but there's a lot of interaction. But I think it's still, people aren't understanding who these are and what they're doing. So we're really trying to push that. The BIA's role is to get that communication out.
Excuse me, Taylor.
Yep.
Melissa's had her hand up for a while.
Oh,
Thank you.
Luckily, it's a virtual hand, so we're good here. Actually, just on your point there, so I actually understand what the Welcoming Streets Initiative is, and sort of what the goal is there. Is there like a contact way? Like, how do you get in contact with them? Because I feel like that information isn't being made super available to people. Like, if I see someone on the street, heckling people or screaming or causing some sort of disruption to the businesses, like, do we call someone? How does that process work?
Yes, Melissa, what's happened is that we've printed out thousands of cards, which are stock cards that have been dropped off at businesses. They have them out in the street. Then we also, the CARIA did up another one, because what was happening is people weren't understanding, for example, when to call, and it gets convoluted. So they set out another one that they've passed around to businesses and everyone, is that, for example, someone would be ODing and they're calling out the outreach worker, because there's 2 outreach workers between 9 and 5 every day. So, or 5 days a week. So they would reach out to the outreach worker. Whereas if someone's ODing, the person needs to call 911. And there's different, or sometimes those the DRPS have to be called, outreach, or 911. So there's different. So they've done some pretty comprehensive mail handouts, and I'll also have that discussion with them again today. They have lots, and they drop off at businesses. They talk to them. That's another reason why also, if anyone has more ideas on how to get that information out, they're totally open. And I think also that's the reason why, through the BIA, the website, and because BIA has a direct communication with the members, is to get out that information of, this is who they are, this is when you call them, this is when you call 911, this is when you call the police.
perhaps we can create some sort of infographic that breaks down like when you call 911 versus when you call the non-emergency police line versus when you can call WSI. Perhaps something like that would help businesses kind of distinguish who does what.
And they have that, Taylor. So maybe,
Okay.
have you seen a copy of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, have you seen
Oh,
that?
sorry. I have not seen the copy, but if you could get it to me.
And
Angela,
I
did you-
haven't seen it either, Sue.
They did it up in the extension, and they put it to a lot of businesses. And I know
They didn't drop it off to us, right?
yeah, Amanda had it. It actually was in our steering committee meetings. So anyway, no worries. I will, Angela, I'll get you copies of that.
Sue, was that the second round that we printed out?
No, it wasn't the second round of your stock copy, the stock cards that we did. It was a one that WSI did, CARIA did, to make it really clear, because they were getting a lot of
Okay,
calls.
so did CARIA actually do what? Because I know Amanda did 2 of them, and like I
Yeah,
believe the second one was indicating who to call when, but I can't recall.
no worries. I'll send you an online copy after I meet with them today.
Perfect, because then we can send that out to the membership as a reminder as well.
Yeah, and we can send out that report once it's done. Getting back to kind of the topic about the website, it was just, we have absolutely no problem sharing the information. in communicating that with our members, because like you said, that's exactly what our role is supposed to be within, between us and WSI. It was more about having the weekly numbers out there for tourism purposes until we can kind of lock down that one specific section of the website. Oshawa unfortunately has a little bit of a reputation, and I don't want people who are coming to our website from China trying to look at, you know, places to vacation in Toronto GTA area and then seeing those numbers and perhaps being a little more leery of you know, coming to visit us. That's my concern around putting those numbers on the website until we can have that locked member section.
And
Yeah, no, I understand. That's a good point. It's a really good comprehensive report. Well, we wrote it, so we're happy with it. But it gives the background of why there was this initiative, and then it gives the progress to date, and then it tells the story. It tells the story of what's going on in downtown, and then it tells the story of where we're going. And it's a pretty big ask. I mean, we're asking council for $240,000. So I think it's also a good news story for the BIA. And I totally concur with you. It is about probably then in a member section to say that, you know, the MOU, the BIA is on with this MOU. So it's really showing that you guys are taking the initiative to do something about what's the bridge the gap between businesses and the vulnerable residents downtown. So that's what
and if I could maybe propose and I'd be curious to get everyone's feedback, but maybe a compromise kind of in between the concerns that both Angela and Taylor, you guys are raising, which are valid for sure. And what you're suggesting, Sue, is would we have the ability, so this report, we could likely PDF it, right?
Yep.
And so my thoughts would be that, you know, I know with a website, you can get a PDF, you can create like a specific URL that points to a PDF where it doesn't per se sit as a page on your website where external visitors can easily find it, right? It's more or less just like a URL or hyperlink, right? Where if we're sending an email out to our members, we can include that hyperlink that they could click on and it'll point to a PDF. So it's maybe, is that maybe a compromise in between both sides here?
Yeah, it's something we can look into.
Sorry, I'm just confused because I remember the last meeting where we had, and Kim was at the meeting. She said that because we had brought up the concern and she said it was fine. And she said not a problem, that they would be posting it on Carrier's site until we could get our stuff sorted out. So I'm just wondering why we're sort of belaboring this at this point when we have other things that we could be moving on with.
Yeah, fair enough. And I know we committed also to getting that blog completed, which I know we still need to finalize, right?
Yes.
Which does give some exposure, I suppose, to the program itself, right?
Yeah.
Sue, do you have anything else you want to add or any other?
No, just probably the last is that one of the big asks that we have of council is that we have 2 outreach workers. They, you know, Carrie has added more in with some students, which has been really helpful. But one of the big asks in this report is, as we all know, that the evenings are difficult. So what we're asking is, that's why the budget's a little bit higher, is our ask of council is to have another outreach worker so we have someone in the evening.
Okay.
So if that goes through, that'll be much more helpful. I think, you know, it's gaining great momentum and speed. We learned a few difficult things through the journey with this, is that, you know, I guess I kind of brought this to the table back after actually it was a BIA meeting in Ottawa, and this has been really successful in Guelph and in Toronto. And so we emulated the Guelph model, but months later we found out that it did not replicate the Guelph model. Is we have a very high number of intellectually challenged, mentally ill people homeless in downtown. So there's a lot of, as you know, addiction. And so it just became a little bit of a different system. We've worked through it, we've learned from it. And, you know, the outreach workers are pretty incredible. So if we can get one more body out there, it'll get this program even stronger and even more people on the street to also bridge the gap with businesses. And the more they understand, that's what we're finding. A lot of businesses don't know who they are.
Yeah, very good. Do we need to I don't think there's anything through this discussion that we need to necessarily move or vote on here. I do know, again, I'd like to circle back to the blog again, which we can tidy up in the next item here. But can I close this discussion on welcoming streets, and then can I segue to maybe a couple other things I mentioned just to you in an email, Angela?
Sure. I think it's a good way of going right now.
Yeah. Now, I just want to acknowledge and say congratulations to everyone on the committee and the staff. I think that, you know, from a communications perspective, I think we've done some pretty fantastic things this calendar year, especially just kind of diversifying the way that we communicate with members, whether it be through video or town halls and whatnot. And so I think that there's a lot of positives there to kind of, you know, take away and celebrate to some extent, right? I think where I'm sitting here today, through some of those successes, I've been contemplating whether or not we should start talking about or formulating kind of like more of a formal communication strategy as we move forward. Again, I think we've done a lot of really good things, but I think a lot of it has been kind of more knee-jerk in nature in terms of how we've gone about our communications. When I say knee-jerk, I mean we've certainly had good discussions about it through our committee meetings and at the board level. I'm just wondering, would we benefit from having a more formal strategy in place for how we communicate, how often, you know, those sorts of things? Is that something that we think we could benefit from? I guess I'm just putting that out there really more so.
If I can just say a few words, I think that we have multiple challenges. One being we don't have like an ED role or a lead role right now. And it's hard to say what's going to happen with that. Also, we don't have much of a budget for the upcoming year. We don't have a lot going on. So it is a good year to kind of regroup and focus on communications. But it's come up recently a few different times about our overall strategy. And do we have a 5-year plan? Do we have a 3-year plan? We've been flying by the seat of our pants day by day. So we, you know, I think we do need more of a solid game plan moving forward. But A, how do we do that? And B, I know Plan 2020 or the city's plan for downtown obviously is expired now. And, you know, in working with the city and trying to collaborate and figure out how we stake out the next 5 years, because I think that'll impact how we go about our communication strategy. So it's something I think in community development we talked about a little bit, but it's definitely something that needs to be explored. And I guess this committee would be the one to do it. So that's my 2 cents worth. And I don't know how best to figure out a way forward, but those are the thoughts that we have been kicking around.
Yeah. I have to echo what Cindy is saying. I definitely agree. We could benefit from some sort of plan, but in that plan, we also have to recognize that a lot of our communications are things that kind of come up unexpectedly that we communicate to the members, you know, whether it's a new grant that's come out or a new issue that downtown is facing. So some of that stuff can't necessarily be planned. And I guess maybe that's where having a communications plan with, you know, how frequently we send things out, or if we can judge whether those kinds of things should be sent out in one email or be put off and have like a weekly email. That's just something that I've noticed in my role.
That's good. That's good feedback. Thanks, Taylor. And so would it be worth passing it up through the board that the marketing committee recognizes the need for somewhat of a formal communications plan? So I understand, again, Taylor, you're noting that, you know, not everything is going to be formal in nature, and some of it will be a little knee-jerk based on the timeliness of certain things, right? But you know, is that something that we'd pass up through the board, I guess is what I'm asking now.
The Community Development Committee is doing that. So it would be great to have other committees echo the same sentiments. So I'm in support of that.
Okay, so maybe we can get and do others agree, or anyone in disagreement to that? I know I haven't heard from everyone yet today, but I'd be happy to hear other perspectives if there's any. Hearing none so far. If we can get that into the meeting notes, Angela, I'll make sure that we try to echo that in our next board meeting. So yeah, and so I think that's probably where we can leave it, unless others have anything else they want to add. But hearing nothing, I think we could probably close out this discussion on number 7 here, and move on to actually we moved up the Welcoming Streets blog discussion to the next item. So I think it's a good segue. Cindy, and I'll just give the quick background. Rick and I at the last meeting took away the task, Rick Kerr, him and I just took away the task of creating like a blog for Welcoming Streets, right? And so we crafted a blog, and we had a lot of people weigh in, which was great. So thank you to anyone and everyone that weighed in on that. Certainly, I think we want to try to get that finalized and posted on the website. Cindy, I know specifically you had some concerns. Taylor, I think you had a perspective to add as well too. But I don't think we really got to hear from you, Taylor, on that. So do you have anything you want to add on that blog piece so far?
It's hard because I guess my concern was more about the direction and the tone that we wanted to take with the blog article. Typically, blogs are very, easy to read. They're more light, kind of good news stories, especially those are the kinds of blogs that we've been posting, whereas the one that you guys wrote was very informational, which was fantastic. But it was also geared heavily towards the businesses. So that was my only concern, was just trying to make sure that we were achieving the tone that we wanted to. And if that is the tone that we want, that going forward, that's fantastic. I guess it was just a little bit of a misunderstanding on my part on what exactly the goal with the blog was.
Yeah. And Cindy, I know your concerns were trying to make sure that it was crystal clear in the article that what the benefits were to the members, if I recall correctly, right?
Yeah, I think for the last few months now, we've been asking for more concrete outcomes instead of just numbers. Because I know like the number of supplies that are handed out goes up by a few hundred every month, but what does that translate to for businesses? So to have more meat and meaning behind the reporting, because I think there's an infographic that comes out and it's a number count. So how many people interact with, well, what does that mean? What's an interaction? What qualifies as an interaction? How many repeat interactions? Like really kind of digging behind the numbers to make them more meaningful for businesses. Because even my concern with posting a lot of stuff on the website, so if we post an updated infographic every month, like we know the numbers are going to go up, and then what impact is that going to have on our members? Are they going to keep going back each month to see how many more items of supplies are being given out? Like I just really wanted to push to see what that translated to as a benefit for the businesses. But we've been asking for that for a while, and I'm not sure if that's going to be an outcome for moving forward for WSI or what's going on there. But that was my only concern, to make it meaningful for the businesses so that they actually want to read it and it means something to them.
Yeah. Okay, so in an effort to try to finalize that article then, would you guys like me to take another stab at it and try to rework that a little bit and rework that angle in, and then maybe, between a few of us, can we try to get that finalized?
So can I weigh in on a question here?
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, Cindy. We've had these conversations. Is that we've got the stats, we've got the numbers, but we're also looking at qualitative information, not just the quantitative, and we understand that there's got to be some anecdotal, there's got to be testimonials that come out. Now we have a bunch of those that have come out through this report from businesses and from the vulnerable individuals. So I'm kind of probably my comment here would be that if you guys are doing a blog, it might be more prudent to send that to the steering committee of Welcoming Streets, that we could do a review of that, since we're meeting pretty well weekly, bi-weekly on the steering committee meetings for Welcoming Streets. So if you were doing a blog, to make sure that you've got maybe some good testimonials and maybe more information, it might be worthwhile to run that through us. It might help you out.
That's not a bad suggestion. So if I pass that through you, Sue, would you be able to help get that in the hands of the steering committee?
I'm part of the steering committee, Isaac.
That's right.
So,
You'd be able to share that with the rest of the committee then?
yeah, I think that would make sense, because I think what you're doing is a great idea, is get the blog out, but you also, you don't just want numbers, you want some anecdotal stories from people. And we've got some from, that come in from the businesses, and we need to get more of those. So yeah, if you want to send, what are you doing? Are you sending a blog out, how often on this?
Well, I think the idea was just to get the one blog post put up, which was to try to help support the partnership with Korea on the program, right? And also to be able to get something on our website, some exposure, and to Angela and Taylor's point, as kind of like not a stopgap, but while we work to get the member section of the website finalized, and get something proper and more robust on the website, it at least gives some exposure to the program.
It would also provide a link that would go from the blog directly to Carrier, where they would have the information posted.
Correct. Good. Thank you, Angela.
So I'm a
really
loser at blogging.
Oh, Sue.
I'm a total loser at blogging. Is it so? When you do a blog of that sort, do you not want to just sort of keep it going, like every month, or is that
Well,
not?
So I'll jump in. We have a blog section on our website where we've got a variety of different articles posted, all of course relating to the downtown, and either things that you can do or see, places to eat, stuff like that. So that would kind of just fit into that overall blog plan. It's not a blog series dedicated to WSI per se. It's just one piece of our blog.
I really just want to say I like Sue's idea with the testimonials. I don't know if showing the numbers is really something that should be focused on. I mean, the businesses downtown, we know the numbers. We see them on the street every day. But actually hearing testimonials of how it's helped a business or how it's helped an unsheltered get off the street, I think that may be probably more beneficial to members. Because I mean, knowing how many needles are distributed, or knowing, how those kind of things, I don't know if that's really relevant to the business owner downtown. That's my opinion there.
Yeah.
And I'd like to echo Melissa and just add to the piece, if we want to keep updating and to keep businesses interested, I think we need numbers such as WSI connected X amount of individuals to housing, WSI connected X amount of individuals to social work, or so many people are on a wait list for addictions. Those are the kind of numbers that I think would be more meaningful to show that there's action and there's follow through and flow through the system. So I'd advocate for those numbers in addition to the anecdotal stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's also, and that's actually one of the core values of Carrier, by the way, is what they've been doing is, and this has come out in the testimonials that I've been going through on the weekend and then through our meetings, is that they've been building relationships. They've been with the vulnerable population, and I've done the walks with them, and it is pretty amazing. They know a lot of people by names. They chat with them, and there's a bond and there's a trust, and some of that comes out in this, that they won't talk to the bylaw guys, MLES. They won't talk to DRPS. They don't trust them, but they've built this bond, and so they've been able to help a lot of people. There's some pretty great testimonials out there. So yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's where the focus has got to be. Is we know how bad the situation is, but how much worse could it have been without them? How many more overdoses would we have had, and things like that? So yeah, we'll so it's up to you guys if you want to, send through to me however often you want to do it, the blogs or whatever, and then we get more stories out. Say Taylor, for you on what you want to put on the blog.
That sounds fantastic.
Yep. So I don't. Do we need a motion to forward that through to the Welcoming Street Steering Committee, or
I don't believe so.
Yeah. So I think though, as a note though, I'll forward that off to you, Sue, and then if you guys can take a look at it. The article itself is now about a month old, but it should still be fairly relevant. And it was a lot more. I will, just from memory, I haven't looked at it in a little while, but I believe it is a little bit more on the qualitative side, a little bit more on the fluffy side, and less about numbers. But I definitely welcome your guys' feedback and perspective so that we can hopefully get something finalized. And then maybe between myself, maybe Cindy, if you're okay with me sharing it with you, and then the rest of staff, we can get it finalized and posted on the website before the next meeting. Does that sound like it's something that's achievable?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, it would be good to get it finalized. So fantastic. Okay. So I think we can move past the blog then and segue into item number 8, which is website objectives. And really that was an item that I had asked to be put onto the agenda. And really I thought it was maybe prudent to, and I don't know if this conversation is premature at this point, and if so, we could boot it down the road. But basically, I was sitting back and just looking at the website and reflecting on it as a pretty big key asset of the BIA. And, in a lot of different perspectives, websites could be used for a number of different objectives. So I was wondering whether or not it was important to have a bigger conversation about what sorts of outcomes or objectives we wanted to try to achieve with the website, and whether or not there could be some strategies that we can put into place to try to help meet those objectives, whatever they may be. The other reason for having or coming up with that also was the fact that, again, we may be faced with a, depending on how the budget materializes, and this could, again, be another great year to try to work on items that require little to no budget. So this is maybe something that might be, from a timing perspective, a good time to reflect on. So again, I'd be curious to hear people's perspective on whether or not we should have that conversation and come up with some objectives.
So Isaac, I would suggest that maybe we start with having Taylor identify what has been identified for phase 2, because I don't think a lot of people know what phase 1 entitled versus what phase 2 entitles for the website.
Okay.
And the best person to do that would be Taylor.
Okay, so I'm good with that. So Taylor, do you want to indulge us all, please?
Yeah. So, well, I can start off with like what we've identified as the 2 main objectives for the website, just from phase 1. So as you know, we have the member section. So that is obviously very geared towards getting information out to our members and having that accessible online without needing to wait for an email from us or like from Angela or I with information. That's the goal of that. But that's really strictly the members page. The calendar of events can swing both ways, but our other objective is tourism and really showcasing the downtown and making people aware of what we have to offer, whether it's the different kinds of shops or the events going on. So that's like the event calendar that I mentioned could swing both ways. It's great because members can put their events out there, but then the tourists can likewise see what events are happening in the downtown. So does anyone have any questions about those 2 things first, I guess? Hearing none. So the objectives for phase 2 of the website are really to kind of clean it up and make it more of a journey. I guess that's how I just try to describe it. I haven't looked at the plan in a few months as well because it's been put on hold, but it's really just trying to make it flow better, make it more cohesive. We do want to add another page or 2 that targets the members. So eventually we'd like to have a link to the shop, which I believe it's the Whitby BIA's heading a Downtowns of Durham type of shop. The plan was to link that, but also have a page that identifies buildings for lease or for sale so that people looking to start a business in the downtown can kind of access that in one place and see how they can get down there.
So-
Those are the two biggest things I can think of.
Okay, Taylor, I have a question. The one for lease or for sale page.
Yeah.
Who would be responsible for finding that information out and maintaining that? Would it be the property owners putting that information on, or would that be the BIA staff having to go out and find that?
It would be like a submission form. So if you were a property owner and you had a place to lease, you would fill out a submission form, which would then come to us through an email type of thing, and then we could put it up. So it would be, the idea is to not have it be a huge amount of work on our part, and to get, the community members involved. I mean, it is the property owner's property, so it's in their best interest to get it rented out. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so with tourism being a heavy focus of phase 2, my next question would be, how are we envisioning getting more eyeballs onto our pages? Is there anything that we're doing in terms of, a plan to try to make our website more searchable and stuff like that? Like, do we have to consider any SEO at all? Are there any initiatives being taken up in that regard?
Not at the moment. Our SEO is actually pretty good. If you Google downtown Oshawa, I think we're like the second or third search result. The biggest struggle with that is because we're not a shop where we're selling things. I guess our blog is kind of the main way that we stay active. So keeping that updated, as well as the events calendar and that kind of thing. The events will struggle a little bit until we can host our own, because, we don't have much to post. We're relying on other people who are hosting events to then contact us and fill out the submission form. And when I get wind of events, I update it in my own time as well. But that is one thing that we kind of struggle with, because we don't have something to sell per se. We're just trying to drive awareness and stay up to date by using the blog feature.
Yeah, no, I agree. The blog's probably going to be a key tool to trying to keep website searchable and findable, right?
Yeah, and when we first started the blog, one of the discussions was, well, why don't we just put all the blog posts up right away? And I kind of was like, whoa, we need to put a few blogs out every month or once a week to keep it updated and keep it relevant, because if everything's just out there at once, then no one's going to return after a while.
That's right. Yeah, very good. Okay, so I'm not really, does anyone have anything else to add? I haven't heard from Clarissa or Caitlin, not to put you guys on the spot, but does anyone have anything to add to this at all?
I'd actually just like to see more like on our social medias as well, just because like websites all well and good, but I mean, everyone has access to the social medias. If you're running a business, your business should have social media. So I mean, everyone should be directed to that for the most up-to-date information, regular posting. We can communicate what businesses are doing. It's so much easier than going to a website, which is cumbersome, which is time consuming. People are on social medias anyways. So if we have that information going out, they're going to see it there. I know not all members may use the social medias, but I mean, like I said, most businesses should have them. So instead of focusing so much on that website, people are going to see information a lot more if it's in their face, on their phones, on their computers already. You know what I mean?
I agree with you, Melissa, and that's part of our strategy, and maybe why I've struggled to answer some of these or come up with exactly what the goal of the website is, other than awareness and tourism, because a lot of the information that we do put out is on our social media and is a lot more accessible and changes more frequently on there.
And like, it costs us money to update that website. It costs us nothing to update our social medias. So, I mean, if we're directing people, hey, follow us, right? Eventually we're going to have that traction. And I think just even adding more posts or more, we visited here for lunch today. We visited here for lunch today. We should definitely be doing daily posts on social media. I'm just looking at it now. I mean, there's a few gaps here and there where we didn't post daily. If it's in their face, they're going to see it. That's how I view that. I go to the social medias for when I want information. So, you know, most of the other businesses should be doing the same.
And Sue, I see your hand up. Feel free to chime in.
Just a couple points just back to Taylor. When you're talking about the showing what available spaces are for leases, etc., there might be an opportunity. For example, if the city does a free service where people call our department, economic development, and if they have something to a place that they want to sell or lease, if they send us everything, we post it. So I can connect you. I might just connect you with our analyst, Lorraine Barshad, because if you're looking at doing something like that, you could probably piggyback on ours, so you're not putting the extra work in.
Okay, that would be fantastic. I would definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Now, it's not just downtown, it's the whole city, but at least you could see what's there. So I think what I'll do, so I'll maybe just do me a favor, and Angela can send me your email. So I'll connect you with Lorraine, and I'll stay in the loop with you guys, but there might be an opportunity there that I think that would, you don't want to throw, I appreciate you trying to get the communication out, which is great, and help the businesses, but instead of creating more work, if you can just piggyback on what we're doing, that might be helpful for you.
Yeah, that would be.
I see Caitlin has her hand up as well.
Oh, wait, I got one more, just one
Okay,
more.
yep.
There was 2
Sorry.
points. But, sorry, the second is there's been a lot through the Mayor's Recovery Task Force that we're, economic development is, we do all the information for that. And so the big thing that's been coming out, as everyone knows, is Shop Local. So we're doing a lot of Shop Local for downtown, and the video was just, we just did a video actually on Friday with Councillor Tito and the mayor, and it was downtown. Some of you guys may have seen it. So if that's something like that, then maybe you guys can kind of help spread that. Taylor, I can get you set up with our department on that. And we're doing a lot of photo ops right now. I just did one downtown yesterday on the market coming February 14, 2021. So did just a photo op with the mayor. We're just doing a lot of those quick little photo ops. So I wouldn't mind, I'm wondering if that can help you out, if you, to Melissa's point of keeping that continually going, the great stories, is that you could piggyback on some things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'll get you connected.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sure, Taylor, like you probably keep an eye on the city's channels as well too, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, we did we share something yesterday about the photo op, but really getting content that we can share permanently on our feed as well. Some of it we just put on our stories to kind of acknowledge it. So it yeah, it depends on the content, but absolutely anything that you can tag us in, send our way, the more the merrier.
Yeah. Perfect.
That's
Caitlin.
exactly it too. I mean, even when we are out, like it's our responsibility to sort of do that, right? So if, you know, Cindy's out and she's eating at, like I went to Bollywood Tacos last night and I took a picture of my taco and put it on my Instagram. I mean, if we're sending that kind of stuff along to Taylor, that'll really help her out with content as well. So even when we're all out in the community, I mean, we should definitely be taking snaps or, you know, shooting her a message or something like that, just in order that we can keep it going as a team, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I know Caitlin had her hand up. I'd like to let her get in on the conversation. Go ahead, Caitlin.
I was just wondering too, like going back to the website and all that, is there an option, I've seen it before, where your Instagram or your Twitter feed is directly linked to your website too? I'm just thinking so that if someone, because I agree that I think that social media is, I guess, the fastest way for people to find information, but if people go the route of looking at the website first, and then if they see the social media as an option there, that might gain some traction for followers and stuff as well.
So we do have all of our icons on our webpage. If you scroll to the bottom, it'll link you to all of our different social medias. We did attempt to have a bit of a live feed page where it would cycle through, and to be honest, it looked absolutely horrendous. So we nixed that right away. It could have been or it was partly what our developer did. So I can talk to him because it has been brought up. I think this is now the second or third time since we kind of nixed that idea. I can talk to him again and see if we can elevate that page, try to make it look better and bring it back. I'm definitely open to that. It's just what lies within our developers' abilities. But yeah, I definitely agree. It's nice to have a page like that. I want it to look good and not just have it to have it.
Oh, of course.
Okay, so to maybe wrap this conversation up with a bow then, I would say that it sounds like we're in agreement that continuing on with the blog is going to be a positive aspect to trying to maintain our SEO positioning. And again, phase 2 is on its way. We could probably circle the conversation back once phase 2 gets underway in terms of whether or not there's other things we want to consider doing at that time. Is that a fair way to close the conversation on that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, very good. Does anyone else have anything else they want to add quickly? Hearing nothing, I'm going to move on to number 9 on the agenda, which is the marketing strategy / plan for 2021. Angela, can I turn to you to maybe kick us off there?
Sure. So basically, we've just been gathering some information, quotes, not knowing what our budget was or will be because it hasn't passed through council yet. But there are a few initiatives that might not cost as much. SNAP has one that they've sent a pitch for. That was actually focusing more around Remembrance Day, Christmas, so holidays, and the New Year. Sort of celebrations. I'd like to actually take it beyond that. Maybe not focus on the Remembrance Day, maybe the holiday season, and then look at January, February to get more engagement in the downtown during the slower months that tend to be slower. So I'm going to have a conversation with them, and then I was going to send everyone the notes so that we could take a better look at it. One of the things that they were talking about was they did a virtual fireworks display for Canada Day. So something very similar like that for a New Year's celebration. And from my understanding, most of what they're talking about is free. So I want to make sure that if there were costs involved, what it would be with our limited budget. The other is, just deciding what sort of strategic plan we want to do. COVID numbers have gone up. Do we want in the new year to start focusing more on a shop local sort of theme? Start promoting our different business sectors, those sort of things. So it's things that the committee has to sort of look at. How is it going to best promote our membership and how we want to go about that? There's numerous methods, right?
I think it may be beneficial sometime in November, early December, if we even had a special in-person meeting, or I guess it could be virtual as well, but where we strictly just come up with what kind of strategy we want to see and maybe create a few campaign ideas for 2021. I feel like that could be a much larger conversation and brainstorming session, which is usually nice to do in person or at least with a small-ish group. But that's just my 2 cents on that.
I would agree. That sounds like that's a good idea. And also because we don't know what our budget is yet, hopefully we'll have more clarity around that in the next month or so.
Well, it won't go to council until November.
That's early November though, right? Is it?
I think it's around the 15th. I'm not 100% sure. So I would suggest if we want, we could schedule a meeting for later in November. And if we need to change it, we could. But with so many people on the call right now, it might be an idea to try to get a consensus of a date and time.
Yeah. And I'm certainly supportive of hosting that one-off session to discuss that. I'm sure it's probably difficult to, like, do we want to send a poll off maybe in terms of polling people's availability, or would that be easier?
I'm fine with whatever, just need to hear what people would prefer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a poll will be easier, Isaac.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that trying to hash it out here over the virtual call might be.
Okay, I'll send
Mhm.
a poll out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I mean, I know definitely we're gonna have to probably brainstorm a couple different things, because we'll need to have contingency plans. You know, depending on how next year evolves and shapes up. Obviously, we don't know what that's all gonna look like, but yeah, yeah, no, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea.
Perfect.
Okay, so I don't think we need any voting on that. Angela, you're going to send a poll off to the committee, and we'll try to settle on a date that works for the majority of people.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so I think we can move on to number 10 then, which is Digital Main Street.
Okay, so I talked with Teresa recently. They've got their teams out and about talking to our members, trying to get them engaged to apply for the grant. And I think that seems to be the struggle that they're having for the most part, is trying to get the members to see the value in applying for the grants and getting them to apply for the grants.
Yeah. When is the deadline?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it's until the money
Runs out. Yeah.
The program for the Digital Main Street workers, I believe the timeline that Teresa had said was the end of February for their teams. But I can't, like, I do know it goes into next year, but I'm not 100% sure of the end date. I do believe it is in February at some point. But they have been trying to connect with a number of the members. I've given them contact information. So I think they're actually even trying to see some in person as well.
Yeah, yeah. Do you guys get any requests or questions about the program as it is?
I do some. So I will have people ask me how to apply. I have asked members to let me know if they've applied, so then I can send it directly to the Digital Main Street people, or to Teresa and her team, so that they know that, you know, this person has applied or this person is thinking about applying, so that they can go talk to them directly, which, you know, helps everyone, because then they know that they have support, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, it's too bad to hear that there's not as much interest in it. I mean, it's a fantastic opportunity to get a bit of grant money. And I think from what I'm hearing, this second iteration of the program is like the training videos, I think are not as intensive as they were in the first iteration.
Yeah, it's only 2.5 hours for the training video. But, you know, again, a lot of the members are struggling and they just don't feel that they have the time to do the grant or the training, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the Digital Main Street website right now. They do have a couple of like 5-minute videos on there, just how to apply and what kind of eligibility you need for your business. That would be something maybe for Taylor to share on our social media as well, just to get that out there. I personally would maybe share it like once every couple of weeks, just to keep it on people's heads. Because I mean, people get busy, right? If they're not seeing it all the time, they're not going to think about it and see that benefit. So I can send you the link if you want, Taylor, to the website or to the little videos on their website. But like just sharing that kind of stuff on social media is super beneficial as well.
Yeah, I like that idea. I also noticed that Sue has her hand up if she has something to say.
Yeah, I was just going to be, because it's, my concern is that the first phase of Digital Main Street there was no uptake here in Oshawa downtown, as you know, because it was a little tricky. Now it's been streamlined and it's easy. But it is until the money runs out, and certain municipalities are really jumping into this and they're getting a strong foothold. My concern is that we're just not taking advantage of it. We're going to run out of the money. So you've kind of answered some of my questions, because I'm kind of figuring out that they've made it so much easier. You know, your 2.5 hours, people can, it's really flexible, lucrative what they can do. I mean, you can get hardware, you get a laptop. There's so many things they can do. But yeah, I guess through Taylor, if you can get that message out more, and I know that Teresa with BACD, she's constantly doing it with the team. I don't, and I think people don't understand it still. Is my take on it, because it's free money, it's easy to get. You know, it wasn't well marketed the first time around, and it was a little difficult to, you had to jump through a few hoops, and so they simplified it. They put more money in, and if we don't take advantage of it, it will disappear through other municipalities.
Now, would we even consider like a direct email, or is that even like, is that even a good idea? I'd point that question to maybe you, Taylor and Angela.
We have sent them a couple of times to the members about the Digital Main Street when it was first announced. And I think, again, when BACD said that their teams were up and ready.
Yeah.
And, you know, we did phone calls too. Like when we phoned all the members a month or so ago, we told all the members about it. And I know when I was talking to them, I would tell them about the program and say, please, you know, let me know if you're going to apply, because then I can make sure that your name is forwarded and I can continue to contact BACD to make sure that you have been approached. And still, I only had like 2 or 3 members that said that they were going to apply.
Yeah.
We do have a piece about it in the last 2 e-bulletins that we've sent out, or I guess the first 2 e-bulletins that we've sent out. So it is in there for the monthly update as well, but I definitely like Melissa's suggestion of sharing it a little bit more frequently on our social media.
I mean,
Yeah.
like my day job, I work for the research office. So like really what my office does is we apply to giant grants with like NSERC and CSIP, all the major like government organizations. So, I mean, grants are hard. You do need to have a little ambition to kind of do it. You do need to, you know, really go through a process. From what I'm seeing here, this one's actually kind of dumbed down a little bit for small businesses, which is awesome to see. I mean, you're not going to get 100% hit rate for people actually applying to these grants. I know my department never does. But I mean, yeah, just that awareness and, you know, look, it's easy to apply, or, you know, and I think actually from what I'm seeing is like Digital Main Street will actually help out businesses to apply. So that onus actually isn't totally on us. That would go back to Digital Main Street in order to help these small businesses kind of get what they need, right? I mean, not everybody's great at grant proposals. That's not what your business is. So, you know, if they can get that help right on their Digital Main Street staff, that would be great as well. So just maybe making people aware that if they need help applying for these things, it is available.
Yeah, I think the team is like super supportive, to be honest, from my understanding. So I think there's a lot of support to help turn it into a, you know, a successful app, or to an application at least, if not a successful application, right? I'm not exactly sure how closely they're scrutinizing the applications themselves, but yeah. Okay. So I don't think there's any action required there from number 10. Under number 11, new business, Taylor, you said you had something else to add under new business.
I do. So I've been thinking of a Shop Local Christmas campaign. Obviously, that's coming up sooner rather than later. I would love some ideas from everybody. I've got a floating name and some strategy right now. Because of our limited budget, it would definitely all be social media and Google ad focused. But the floating name right now is Shop Lohohocal. I'm not sure if anyone has any better ideas or what they feel for that potential campaign name.
I think that's adorable.
Thank you.
And it would make a good hashtag too, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So like there's some fun things that we can do with that. The main idea right now, and it's still in its very rough stages, but the goal of the campaign would be that people can click through and it would drive them to our directory page on our website so that they can see what kind of shops are in downtown. And then that could translate on Instagram as well, where we would feature certain businesses. We could do 1 or 2 a week leading up, probably just after Remembrance Day until, the 22nd or 23rd of December. And we can utilize the shop feature and different things on Instagram so that it can drive them directly to that featured business's website. So little things like that. But I really just wanted to bring it up right now because it is going to take a little bit of planning, but I would love if anybody has any ideas surrounding that and perhaps wants to contribute to that planning as well.
What if we did like if we scheduled like Instagram takeovers with the local businesses so that it could be like on their stories and everything like that, kind of just showing what they have as options for holiday presents for people, and if there was, because then it would engage the businesses followers as well.
I like that. We have we've had a few successful takeovers. We do struggle to get people to commit to it, but yeah, you're right. Maybe with a specific reason and a goal of showing off their product and what they have or what they can give for Christmas ideas and gifts, maybe there'll be a little bit more uptake on that. So I like that idea.
Anyone else?
Melissa had something.
Yeah, I think Melissa had her hand up at some point. Melissa, do you still?
Mine's not on this, so I can wait, but this is great discussion. I like the idea of the shop Loho Hokel. We have a lot of great businesses downtown. There's a couple new ones opening up that look really promising for that kind of like gifty sort of thing. Even if they're just kind of sharing, gift cards or things like that. I know I have lots of people I struggle to buy for because I don't know what they want. So gift cards for everybody is often the case. So yeah, I mean, even just sharing that kind of stuff, that we have gift cards available or some sort of incentive for people to get in there to try it, I think that'd be a great idea. So I like your idea, Taylor. Great job.
Thank you.
And I'll echo that. I mean, I like it on for 2 reasons. Number one, it's on the theme of shopping local, which I think is a strong message that a lot of municipalities are trying to get out there right now, particularly with what's going on in Durham region right now. But then secondly, I think with just the ongoing pandemic, some people with their spirits a little bit low. I think that the holidays, whatever holiday it may be, but with Christmas up and coming, I think it's something that a lot of people are going to really be looking forward to help lift their spirits to some degree. So I think, thematically, it's great. I probably have less to say about the, I like the shop low. It's a bit of a tongue twister there.
Yeah.
But I know I like what you proposed on the surface. But yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Like on another point in that too, like I know a lot of the restaurants, there was a few that did like catering almost, or like platters available for like Thanksgiving. I'm sure they'll probably do something for Christmas. Like I'm just thinking restaurant. So like I know Bollywood Taco, they had like an entire spread that you could purchase for your Thanksgiving meal to take home. So kind of promoting those sort of things for the Christmas season for, people that may not have an opportunity to get together with their families just due to the pandemic. I think promoting those sort of things would be really beneficial to the restaurants as well during the Christmas season.
Perfect. Yeah, because that's more than just, saying that they have gift cards available as gift ideas. I like that as well. Melissa?
I was also just thinking too that it might not hurt to start sooner than later, just because, all signs point to businesses are probably going to have to start shutting down again soon, especially the restaurants. If Toronto and Ottawa and Peel are any sort of indication for that. I know where I work, we're already kind of gearing up for the fact that that's a bit of an inevitability. So yeah, like I think that for the smaller businesses, I think like if people started spending a little bit of money now as opposed to waiting until, December to do their shopping, kind of promote to get it done early, and the weather's still nice, you can walk around downtown, see that kind of, does that feel like I'm not wording that properly? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. Right now I have a tentative timeline to start it, I think like literally 2 days after Remembrance Day.
Oh,
Um,
perfect.
and that was just, kind of out of respect for Halloween and Remembrance Day and kind of the cliche of starting Christmas stuff too early. But I'm not 100% sure on the marketing etiquette around that kind of stuff either. I don't know how soon is too soon or, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, as a consumer, as well as someone in marketing, waiting till after Remembrance Day would be much appreciated, I think. People
Okay.
get-
That's what I thought as well, but it's tough to know exactly because everyone has their preferences, right?
I agree that the Remembrance Day is definitely something to pay attention to. I just worry that like this year's weird and different than past ones, and
Mm-hmm.
I worry that if a closure does come, that some of those businesses might not be around after Remembrance Day at this point. But
we could
I'm
certainly
also
think
a
of
little
like
pessimistic.
we could certainly think of like shop local stuff for now and just not put it as a holiday shop local. I mean, we should be
Right.
promoting shop local every day of the year, so it really shouldn't matter. I mean, that's our whole point, right? We want people shopping in our downtown core, so just promoting, shop local every day, I think is a good policy, anyways. And then maybe just
Mhm.
gearing it more towards the holiday season after Remembrance Day, and just sort of changing our wording around, changing our messaging around. That should be fairly easy to do.
Yeah, I agree, Melissa.
I saw that Aid Body Care just did like a big promotion of their shop local thing, and it got huge traction with their followers. It was really
Sorry, who was
well
that?
received. Aid Body Care.
Okay.
I don't know if they technically count as being downtown. I know they're on Bond, but they might be a little farther out. But I just know that they did a good shop local. I don't know. I wouldn't call it a campaign, but their post was very moving, I think.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely look into that for some inspiration, and maybe we can share that if they're within our boundaries. But thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, and I want to ask the question, Melissa and Kaylin, would you be willing to help act as a sounding board to Taylor if she wants a second pair of eyes on anything that she's working on towards this campaign? Sounds like you guys have
Oh,
some-
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Taylor, you can message me anytime. I'm fine with that. If you need any inspiration or copy done, I'm happy to help.
Okay. Thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate that.
Very good. Very good. Anything more on that, Taylor?
No, I think that's covers a lot more than I expected on this end, so that's fantastic.
Okay, cool.
We can pass it off to Melissa now.
Yeah, Melissa said she had an item she wanted to add, so go ahead, Melissa. The floor is yours.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot, guys. So I'm in the advertising program at Durham College. Part of our assignment is we do sort of a account management course where half of the cohorts kind of take the account representative side, and then the other half of our cohorts take the digital graphic creation side. So we're doing anything from social media, graphics, Facebook, Instagram banners, logo design, marketing plans, all of that kind of stuff. I know a few of us are still sort of looking for businesses that we can partner with. So I've sort of suggested that, I mean, BIA has tons of businesses, or even BIA in general. And this may go back to Taylor as well if you're looking for those kind of things. So what we're providing right now, it's free service targeting Durham College students. We're posting on our Facebook account DC Deals, as well as on the Chronicle newspaper website. Because we're not doing print this year, the cost to businesses is going to be absolutely free. And it's all done by students. I mean, it may not be entirely the most professional. We're still learning, but we're with the clients every step of the way. The account representatives are full contact, making sure that the businesses are getting what they wanted. So if there are any businesses interested in getting some student work done, please reach out to me, because definitely I can pass those along to my friends or my cohort, as well as my professors. Some of these as well would be ongoing bonds going forward into future years. So if you had a great experience working with the Durham College students, those businesses could stay in our loop, and next year when the students are doing them again, we can still get more advertising. And when the Chronicle comes back up, we do also the Chronicle ads as well, which is the student-run newspaper at Durham College, for those who don't know. So just leaving that out here, I just figured I'd bring it up. And yeah, whether BIA Maine wants help with their social media or their digital graphics, that would be great. Or if we have a specific business that's just struggling, I'm fine with that as well.
I mean, it sounds like a pretty, the way you're describing it sounds like a pretty good service, right? Like basically it just sounds like the college is just trying to help the students get some practical experience, right? And so in turn, they're supporting a local business. Is that, am I getting that correctly?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So essentially my class is, we're a small advertising agency. That's kind of what we're doing. And yeah, you're going to your account representatives, who we meet with the clients, we talk to the clients, see what their needs, what their wants are, and then pass that forward to our design team. So it's getting experiential learning for us students who, we may not get that experience before we graduate. So this is a really good program. I know they've been running it for years up at Durham College with all of the different cohorts throughout the years. I just don't know if that's ever been brought to BIA to get their sort of onboarding with it. There's so many businesses downtown that are, small, that are maybe struggling with marketing, with those kind of things. That's not their niche. So just essentially, yeah, I'd be working with a student advertising team to sort of help them out with those sort of things. So, and then yes, it benefits the students as well.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea. I think we can definitely, maybe Angela and I can pull a few business names together that we think might be interested in something like that and send them to you. But likewise, I don't know if you guys have any kind of promotional material that you could share with us, or maybe we can create a post together, Melissa, you and I can collaborate on something that can go out on our Facebook and our website and different things like that to get the word out there.
And one question I do have, Melissa, do you know what kind of capacity the program has for supporting businesses? Like, obviously, you could probably only take on so many, right? Do you know offhand, like, what kind of capacity constraints you guys have?
Like, I know right now we're trying to, we're in little teams. So I think there's 12 different teams of us, and we're all sort of doing 2 businesses at a time. So every couple of weeks we're trying to change businesses and just sort of give a little variety to the sorts of things we're promoting. So it's all like advertising based, marketing based, communications based, anything from writing copy, writing marketing plans, or creating any sort of social graphics or website graphics. So I mean, it's a huge scope. We're really trying to take hands-on on all elements of advertising, marketing, communications, and sort of incorporate that into our courses. I do have another incentive at Durham College as well that we're starting to sort of launch through my department, which is our Ripen, which is going to be more project management side. So we're going to get more like the marketing plans, the write-up reports. So that might be something I can share more information on as well. But as far as the advertising goes, we have a fairly large scope, and account representatives would be assigned every few weeks is really the goal. It's a little different this year, I guess, than how we've run it in years before. So I know we're sort of struggling just finding that flow, but that's almost sort of done. It's our first couple of weeks getting stuff submitted. So we will be looking for things all the way up until April, I suppose. And then after that, our students are going on to placement. So that may be an opportunity as well for businesses in the downtown core to get students to work with the business when as we're graduating. So.
Yeah.
Does your class have their own social media channels to promote these, like this project that you guys are doing?
So you can find us, I know we're on Facebook. It's under DC, like D as in David, C as in Charlie, Deals. It hasn't really been updated since kind of last term, but that should start going up soon as we're sort of approving the graphics and stuff being made. And essentially it's a student-run Facebook page, sort of to get students on to see the sort of deals and stuff going on at businesses. So maybe, my business offers 10% off to students if you show your student ID. So that would be sort of communicated on that page. So that way students can go find out kind of where cheap places are, where good places are to eat, where, all of those sorts of things where I can get a haircut and get a discount for being a student. Like all of those things would go on there. So
Do you think though that they would promote on that page that they're looking to also help businesses with their marketing plans? And just might be a good way, like if that account posted something and if they tagged the BIA, for instance, that would be an easy thing to reshare to.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of the graphics will go to each business's own portfolio as well. So like I know my business, we're doing, I've created graphics, or my group has created graphics, and we are just sort of in the process of finalizing them. And those graphics will be shared on both our DC deals and then given to my client in order for them to share on their social medias or on their website or whatever the case, right? So all of our communication materials will be given to the client. So if they want to use it or if they're looking for something really specific, definitely I would all be up to them.
Very good. Sounds pretty fantastic.
Cool.
Melissa, I have a question.
Yep.
For the DC deals, is that in any way connected with say the alumni or the student association for DC?
I guess not directly. No, this is sort of really just run by the media art program at Durham College. So, I mean, there's probably alumni on there that have graduated, but definitely no, not directly with the association, no.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is that both the Alumni Association as well as the Student Association have a list of all the businesses in the downtown that offer a discount.
Okay. Well, that might be something that I could maybe reach out to my professors to see if maybe they can get more communication between them, because I mean, Durham College is huge. Not all the pieces work together, unfortunately. I find that on a daily basis. So definitely, yeah, that might be something just for me to reach out to and see if we can get those connected as well. That's a great idea. Thanks, Angela.
Melissa, I love the idea of both of your classes project as well as the idea of Ripen. If we could get something going between us right now, that'd be awesome. But also, I like the idea of a potential, like extended relationship, I guess, between us, the BIA, and the college, and both of those initiatives, kind of in the long run. I don't know if you can act as like a conduit and kind of put us in contact with a professor or somebody who runs those things long term, but I think it could be great for our businesses downtown for us to promote that and get that out there and work in collaboration with the college to collect, kind of create like a pool of businesses that are interested in that, so it can be a cross promotion.
And that's exactly it. That's sort of why I wanted to bring it up at this meeting, just because, yeah, we're always looking for new businesses. I know a lot of the time students struggle kind of going out, finding a business that's even interested in getting it, right? I know I recommended a few businesses to my cohort that, I thought maybe open to having Durham College, and they just weren't looking for anything right now. So yeah, definitely I'll send you an email offline and connect you with a couple of the main professors that would be running that program. And yeah, building that relationship, I think, would be so awesome for both sides, so that our members can get some advertising done, some student experience done, and then the school as well would have established businesses that they could connect students to. So I'll definitely send that to you.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
Is it Greg Murphy who's your program coordinator?
Greg Murphy is the dean. We would be working with Dawn Salter, who she's been there for years. She runs a lot of the advertising program.
Okay, cool.
Oh, very good. This is great. I'm pretty jazzed to hear about it. So that's awesome. I think any opportunity to collaborate is always good. So that's great. Okay, so I think we know where we're going to take that. Is there any other new business that needs to be discussed, or have we covered everything, guys? Hearing nothing else, I think I will move on to item number 12. Can I get a motion to adjourn today's meeting? From the floor, anyone?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Melissa. Seconder?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Caitlin. Any opposed? And it passes. I want to thank everyone for attending today's meeting, and look forward to seeing you all and talking to you all soon.